Hello my friends. In this movie I'm going to show you how to calculate for a monthly payroll. This is the data I've got in front of me over here. So I have to start things off by formatting it before I get to the real calculation itself. Alright, so I've got Sylvester Dreamland right here as the heading. So I'm going to click, drag to something like J1. So from A1 to J1. Then as you may recall, we have to actually merge and center. Then the next thing we're going to do is that you're going to drag this guy over here like so. Then we're going to merge and center it as well. Then having done that, I am going to deploy the service of the find and replace. And watch this 2010. What is the find and replace going to do? Now it's going to sort out a particular word in your worksheet. Then it will replace it with whatever you specify. Now go to the editing group of the ribbon, then click on this find and replace, and at this time click on replace. Don't click on find, because even when you click on replace, the find and replace dialog box is going to come. Then at this time what I want to find is what? 2010. Then press the tab key on the keyboard to come down. Then I would like to replace it with 2078, and then click on replace all, and then it will tell you, hey, all done, we made one replacement. Alright, so as you can see from here, sure enough, it has been replaced. So that is how to take advantage of the find and replace dialog box here in a more basic way. Alright, so once you're done with that, click on the close button. At this time we need to space things out. When you look at this name of employees, you notice that the content, all the contents are not showing. This is because the cell is too small. Alright, but for some reason I would bring my mouse pointer somewhere here and then drag a bit, just a bit, okay? Then I'll click right here, then take advantage of this guy called wrap text. What it's going to do is it's going to wrap extra long text into multiple lines so you can see all of it. So I'm going to click on wrap text, and you can see the result right here. So the employee has come down even though in the same cell. Alright, I'm going to select this guy and then drag all the way to this region. Then click on wrap text again, and at this time I end up wrapping. But there's a problem somewhere. Look at this. Net is in a separate cell, and then salary too is in a separate cell. Let me show you how to take advantage of that in a moment. Double click inside the cell containing salary, then highlight, that is drag across, right click on it and click on cut, then come to the net, then go to the formula bar, click on the formula bar like that, and after the net press the space bar key on the keyboard. It's very important so that you can leave a space in between, because these tests are two. Then press Ctrl V over here. Now you've got two separate tests over here, and press the enter key on the keyboard. At this time, sure enough, you've got base guy right where you want it to be. And then here, income. So this one is supposed to be income tax. So let me double click inside and then add this guy, tax. So I've got income tax over there. Then at this point in time, we need to start something. And what I want us to do is that look at the average salary, highest salary, lowest salary, and the number of staff. So this time around, go to cell column A and B. Then position your mouse pointer in between and then double click on the keyboard. Sorry, double click. Once you double click, it's going to automatically fit the guy down there. Highlight everything here like this, and then make it and bold it. Then come over here and then bold, increase the font size to, let's say, 16. Then come down here to click on this cell A2, then bold it as well, increase the font size to, let's say, 14, and we are good to go. Now at this point in time, I want us to save our work, so press Ctrl S on the keyboard to save the work. Once you are done with that, we've got the average salary, we have the highest salary, lowest salary, and the number of staff. So this time let me drag all the way to this region, simply because I want to perform something right down there. Then I will format it with bold effect, so that everything within these cells are going to be bolded, and that is what I'm going to do. Now the first thing we would have to do is to calculate the average. So click inside cell B16, then press the equal to sign, telling the Excel that, hey, I want you to perform a calculation for me. And at this point, we have to type in this average, then open a bracket, and at this time we would have to highlight from here all the way to this region, that is from B6 to B15. Then close the bracket, very important. Then press the enter key on the keyboard, and at this time the formula result should give you 890.50. That is great. Then what about the highest? The same thing we are going to do, but then we'll change the function over there in the formula. Press the equal to sign on the keyboard, and then we are going to type this max. So that is to what? To return the highest value in a set of values. Alright, so once you are done with that, open the bracket. Very important, because this is where I want the guys to be. So open the bracket down there and then close the bracket. That is, after opening the bracket, you drag from cell B6 all the way to what? B15. Then hit the enter key on the keyboard. This time you've got the highest salary. Alright, what about the lowest salary? It has to do with the main function. So input equal to, then main. At this time, open the bracket, and haven't opened the bracket, you're going to drag from here to here again. Close the bracket, that is shift with one of the bracket keys. Then press the enter key on the keyboard, and the mean happens to be 200. Now this time around, what about the number of staff? So this time we need to calculate the number of staffs right here. So this time the function we're going to use is known as count. So enter this equal to count, then into brackets. Then at this point you can actually specify this to this. Okay, then close the bracket and then press the enter key on the keyboard, and at this time you've got 10 right down here. Alright, I would love to use the autofill handle to calculate for the rest to the right side. So let me just drag it to this end, and then let me drag this guy to this end, and then let me drag this to this end, and then this one to this end as well. Now in my case, notice what I'm getting. Whenever you get something like this, it means you are yet to calculate for that particular column. Immediately we begin to enter our data into the system, everything is going to be alright. Now we have been given the medical allowance as 10%, so we're going to multiply 10% by this, and then everything below till this region. So this time around we are going to enter this equal to this multiply by, the multiply sign is the asterisk sign, so on the keyboard. So hold shift and then the 8 key on the keyboard, then multiply by 10. Now as you may recall in our previous movies, if a cell matters to the rest of the cells, then you have to keep that cell an absolute cell, which means I want this 10 to multiply by this, and the same 10 multiplying by this, and then this. So since the 10% over there has the cell reference as C5, we have to keep the C5 an absolute cell, which is to press the F4 function key at where the cursor is blinking. Once you press the F4 function key, you'll get some dollar signs over there in between each of the letters over there. Alright, once you are done with that, press the enter key on the keyboard, and at this time notice there is a change over here. Alright, no problem. Now the same thing we are going to do for transport allowance. So the same formula, equal to this multiply by this, then you make this guy an absolute cell. And another way to do that is what? To write it, but I'm going to show you that later. So click inside, then press the F4 function key on the keyboard. This is going to turn it into an absolute cell. Alright, press the enter key on the keyboard, and you are done calculating for that one as well. Alright, you can see you've got a progress right down here. Now at this time we have the rent allowance. We have to multiply this, that is the percentage over here, by this. So equal to the same thing, equal to this guy multiplied by, and then this happens to be cell, the cell containing 5.5%, that is 5.50%, happens to be cell E5. So I'm going to bring out a dollar sign and then type my E, then a dollar sign again, then type 5. That is another way to do your manual input, that is to reference a cell in an absolute way. Once you are done with that, press the enter key on the keyboard, and once you are done pressing the enter key on the keyboard, you'll notice that you've got a change right down here. Now what about your gross salary? How do you calculate your gross salary? Now the gross salary definitely is, it has to be what? Basic salary plus all of the allowances. So at this time we have to deploy the sum function, that is to say the sum, the auto sum. So this plus this plus this plus this. So at this point I am just going to highlight this like this, then have a look at this. We have something here called auto sum. Click on it, then this is going to calculate the gross for you automatically. And once you got a gross, now what about the tax? The tax rate is given as 3%. And then now calculating the income tax is what we are going to do next. Now we have to actually multiply this percentage, that is the 3% of income tax, by the basic salary. So this point I have to input the equal to sign right down there. Then this basic salary multiply by the income tax, and then make this income tax an absolute cell right here by pressing the F4 function key on the keyboard. Then press the enter key on the keyboard, and then you are good to go. Now you've got a tax of 68.55. Now what about the SSF? Well, you are going to multiply this guy too by your basic salary. Alright, so equal to this multiplied by 7%, and as you may recall, this must remain constant, that is fixed, by pressing the F4 key, so that the last one becomes an absolute, that is the cell containing the 7% becomes an absolute, because we would have it multiplied by all of the other employees. Press the enter key on the keyboard, then you are good to go. Now what about our total deduction? Total deduction. Now total deduction has to do with our SSF plus the income tax. So this is our SSF, and then this is our income tax. Now in the next movie I will show you how to calculate the total deduction, the net salary, and then calculate for the rest and prepare your work for commercial printout. Thank you.